Good evening and welcome to Marshall Met, episode 39. And sorry, we're starting a little later tonight. I did make the post, so hopefully everybody saw that, and that's good. I did have the incident, Renee, as you pointed out. I did resolve it. In the future, I think I have to take your recommendation, boxers.
Yeah, you gotta make sure the tight fitting sporty ones, not the loose fitting ones. The zippers are very dangerous, Dean.
For further complications, right?
Yes, and uncomfortable, doctor visits. They really don't see stuff like seeing stuff like that.
Yeah, it makes them wondering question. Absolutely.
You just gotta
Um,
take your time. Gotta take your time.
I have to do that as well. So how's everything going?
I'm about to finish a project, so things are kind of crazy right now, and my household's crazy as always. So
Okay, well, we'll make do. We always do. So folks, they're watching. We got an echo going on with that. We have Evan tonight, and folks, if you're watching, yes, Evan was on last Sunday, but that was regarding WPM. Tonight, we're going to be bringing on his military background, how that if that
just
has interacted or influenced his martial art training, or both sides of that lens, uh, how he combines the two if he does, all that good stuff. So if you're watching, tell us where you're watching from, smash that like button, and we're about just to bring him up. And we have Brian. All right. We got David Parker. Nice. So, hey, Evan.
Hey, Dean, thanks for having me. Long time no see. It's been a hot
How you
minute.
day, huh? Jeez, man. So yeah, you're going to be obviously, people are going to start talking. Evan, within a 3 day, yeah, people are going to start talking. Yeah, so I thought it'd be just neat to bring you on. As I just was mentioning in the intro, your military background, what you want to share, what you're comfortable to share with. And I guess looking at it from the lens or a few lenses, your influence as far as training or vice versa. I mean, on both, I guess, both sides of the coin. And what do you teach and what do you recommend for civilians and all that? So for folks who maybe didn't see you when I had you on before, and again, last Sunday was more WPM oriented. Why don't you just give us, I guess, your military background?
Yeah, so I entered the military 2004 through ROTC from Johns Hopkins University. I spent 20 years in the military. I started as a field artillery officer and then switched over to special forces. I did my time primarily in 5th Special Forces Group, which is all Middle Eastern focused. So part of the special forces pipeline is you learn a foreign language and you're regionally aligned. So I was aligned with the Middle East. So all of my deployments were to the Middle East. I did Iraq, Kuwait, Qatar, and Lebanon. So those are my deployments. The military considers, at the time when I went to all of them, considered all of them combat zones. That being said, there's a lot more danger, obviously, in Iraq than there is in like Kuwait and Qatar, which I've literally taken vacations to on separate instances. Um, in special forces, I tended to focus on kind of like the early stages of what special forces does, which is unconventional warfare. Unconventional warfare is activities taken to coerce, disrupt, or overthrow a foreign government or occupying power. So my favorite example is from Return of the Jedi. Is the Rebel Alliance links up with the Ewoks and use them to overthrow the Empire in the battle for Endor type thing.
That's not, oh, I like that. I like that. So when you were
which is
over there,
great. I was just watching The Mandalorian the entire time before we had this. So
So
okay,
good.
okay. So did you all right. So you're trying, all right. So you were working is it fair to say kind of the back scenes to overthrow the government? Is that kind of what there?
It's everything. It's from so in order to do any of that stuff, you need a presence before a conflict starts, where you're building relationships and talking to people and stuff like that, and essentially building, understanding the operational environment. And then once it goes into like operational phase, then you're actually like blowing stuff up and shooting people and etc. And that's all of like that's the mission set. That being said, I wasn't like in Kuwait trying to overthrow their government, right? Like a lot of what we do in, as special forces is essentially we're trainers, we're teachers. So we go in the Green Berets, special forces, is synonymous, same thing. we go into foreign countries invited by their government. We train their military, and essentially we use their military as a, you could say, a proxy force. You could say to push forward U.S. interests with low risk to the American population, because 12 guys can help influence and train several hundred or even 1,000 local militia or local military and use them to push forward U.S. interests. Yeah. So a
Language
little
did
bit
you
of everything. Long story short,
did you have to learn?
I learned Persian Farsi, which is what they speak in Iran. Funny enough,
I was gonna say Persian. Okay, okay, okay. All right.
no one's called me yet, which is good.
Yeah. So, are you done? Are you retired? Or
I am retired. I officially retired on Halloween of 2024. I actually started seminary while I was on terminal leave from the military, so I'm completely retired. Yeah, I get a pension and all that good stuff.
okay. Are you still in
So,
contact with some of the folks, or
Say again.
you still in contact with folks?
Yeah, so I mean, again, because I got out at 20, most of the guys I know that are like my age group or older are all retired as well. That being said, my last job was in charge of the combatives gym at 1st Infantry Division, Fort Riley, and a lot of those guys were younger. So I still have some younger guys that I trained with that are still in, and some of my like leadership, my NCOIC, Sergeant Ortiz, and he's still in. So I still know a couple people, but most people are out.
So I'm sure you've answered this question a million times, but since I don't know, I'm going to ask you. You said you were retiring and went into seminary. Like that's a pretty big jump from one to the other. So, um, can you like talk me through that? Like, what was the thought process? Like, was this something you've been thinking for a while, or?
I'd say it was something I was thinking for a couple of years. But if you would have told me 10 years ago I'd end up in seminary, I would be like, you're out of your mind. There's no way. Basically, as I got close to retirement, I had to start figuring out what I wanted to do when I grew up. Because as a military, I still feel like I'm a kid because they're like, here's a gun, go blow this thing up and go have fun. And you're like, yeah, this is great. And as I was getting close to retirement, I knew I was going to get a pension for the rest of my life due to military retirement. So I could pick literally any job as long as I had a little bit of money, we'd be fine. Me and my family. I knew I wanted a higher purpose. The military tends to have a higher purpose, and I found that very fulfilling when I was in. I knew I wanted to help people, and I had removed a lot of things the church would consider sinful behavior from my life because while I was in the military, I was doing obstacle course racing at a very high level. So I had like stopped drinking. I started controlling my diet. I was very like regimented as far as like my lifestyle. So becoming a at that point becoming a Orthodox priest, which is something I think is important for society, no longer felt like a burden to me. It felt like all the doors were open, and it was almost selfish of me not to walk through and kind of pursue that path.
Was that a surprise to your family? Like like, that, hey, listen, I've made some choices in my life, and I'm sitting around the family having dinner. I'm like, by the way, guys, I'm doing this, and everybody does the what?
So my wife can read me like a book, and I'm pretty sure she told me before I told her because I was like, when I find an interesting topic, I buy literally all the books and I just start reading, and she watches this go on for months. So I've been buying like early Christianity books from the 1st century to like the 5th century, and eventually she's like, what are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, just reading." She's like, you gonna be a priest or something?" And I was like, "Maybe. Are you okay with that?" And she was like, "I don't know. What do I have to do?" I was like, "Well, we can have
Walk into a
talked."
priest. Awesome.
I
Yeah.
think that's
That's awesome.
yeah.
So
Just like
how far are you into this so far?
I'm a year and a half, and I got about 2.5 years, so it's a 4-year program. Yeah.
That's
4 years. Wow. Okay. Okay. Man. Like and you're halfway there. And are you fortunate enough where it's close by where you're living now? Is that
Yeah. So it's a Orthodox priests, unlike Catholic priests, we can be married. So as long as you get married before you get ordained, you're good. So I've been married for I don't know, 17 years ish now, and they actually have housing on campus. So I literally live. I'm actually in a classroom right now because my internet in my apartment's so terrible. I actually live on campus in like a small 3-bedroom apartment, and there are other families on campus. There's other kids on campus. The undergrad dorms are like down the hill from where we live. So it's like, it's so weird. It's like a tiny enclave of like Christian community. It feels like you stepped back in time where you can let your kids run outside, and it's
Refreshing. Jeez.
when I moved in, we went from like a 5 bedroom house to a 3 bedroom apartment, and I felt like I was being really selfish. And after being here for a couple of weeks, I was like, oh, this is the best decision I've ever made for my family. Like, it's just such a great environment.
Like you said, you're not to worry about like they're around other obviously great families and stuff like that, value system, So no,
It's
it
funny
sounds
how that it's funny how that happens. Like we left the city, same thing, and we went from a decent sized house, 3 bathrooms, this, that, and the other, to like a small farmhouse with 1 bathroom. And at first I was like, oh, but now it's just like we don't lock our doors, and
Yeah.
it's like, like, and that's not an invitation to anybody who's listening. Uh, but it's the same thing. It's just like a community. Like we went to one of the local churches here. They had it was a Christmas pancake. They call it like pancakes with Santa or something, right? And it was amazing because I didn't see one single cell phone out. Everybody's just hanging out, and I was like, "This is." And the schools are much much smaller, and they kind of remind me of the schools when I first came to Canada, where it's like they're really focused on the kids, right? It's like it's education. It's not about politics and BS, right?
Yeah.
So
I feel
it's
that.
pretty cool. Yeah, it's awesome. It's really awesome.
I
So
just think
how do your sorry, Dean, I'm going to cut you off.
no, no.
So do your do the people that where you're studying know about your past and your training and everything else, and how does that mesh together?
Uh, it comes out occasionally. Yeah, I mean, obviously, my bishop, the one who like recommended I come here, I had to get a letter from him to attend. Like he knows what my background is, and he follows me on social media, so he sees all like the ridiculous stuff that's going on. Um, and the people on campus, like who, again, if you get to know me a little bit, it will come up in conversation, right? Because like I now have like cauliflower ear on this side, and I've had enough friends that are I know in person that are now following me on social media who see like the other side of my life. So it comes up in conversation. I think some people, I haven't had really any negative reactions to it. I have had some curious reactions, and sometimes people ask me about like current geopolitics, but that's about it. Everyone's kind of focused on their own path and their own right. Like, we're all trying to get to the end. So I think it's a lot of just we're in school where everyone's kind of a student and you're focused on that.
That's cool. Yeah, it's funny. I go through something similar at work when people same thing. They'll do like a search or something, or see me wearing like a shirt with like Toro Clan or something. They're like, "What is that?" I'm like, "Ah, it's just like a social club, right?" And it's like, "Are you one of those Dog Brother guys that you saw in the videos?" So I was like, "Yeah, kind of," And it's like they don't think it, right? Because I'm at work, I'm a different human being than I am when I'm,
Yeah.
like there's my work life and then my like my real life, I guess you want to call it. And yeah, it's always funny when people find out who or what you actually are, right?
Yeah. And I started teaching a bunch of the kids on campus. So I have like a small martial arts
Awesome.
school, we can call it. I've got, and depending on the day, 6 to 9 kids that I teach. It's a mix of essentially striking, mostly like Muay Thai inspired, mix of grappling, mostly Brazilian Jiu Jitsu inspired, and then essentially weapons work. Largely, last semester was largely FMA stuff, so a lot of like flow drills and sticks. And this semester we did essentially a tennis ball on a rope, which is a rope dart, and we're about to start nunchucks. So they have a good time.
So no one on campus crosses you.
No, no, they know not to fight. I'm okay. I love. I mean, I literally go and fight at Florian Martial Arts like every day. So if we can start like a fight club here that I don't even have to travel to, that'd be
There you
great.
go.
Then I never have to leave campus.
You can make one there. You can cultivate it with all your people that you're living around there. Just right.
Yeah, I got a couple of undergrads who approached me about a week and a half ago. They said they were interested in starting like a wrestling striking club. So
starts, then you get a few more, and before you know it, you got a club going,
Just
right?
do what Eric Knaus used to do. It's like, oh, these gloves. Try these gloves on. Don't they fit cool? Oh
Oh
yeah,
my
man, you
God.
look deadly in those gloves.
Right. Here, grab this
Yeah.
stick.
Here, let me tap you with it. It doesn't hurt that much, does it? Okay, you ready?
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that's how they get people into full contact. The Dog Brothers. They just kind of like
Lure you into it.
slowly lure you in, and before you know it, you're like, "Why am I hitting each other with no
Yeah,
padding and full
I'll
sticks?"
say this: my mentors definitely did it that way. I had a different approach.
Mhm.
It's just like, hope you come back next week.
Yeah.
let's let's
Don't
do
worry.
this.
It'll get better in a few days.
Yeah, yeah. You like
And
basements? Let's go to my basement.
the face, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So, man, when you got released, I mean, no, I shouldn't say released. When you chores were
Retired.
done, tired, but you had done martial arts previous to going in there, correct?
Into the military?
Yeah, or a little.
Like not really. Like one summer I did like karate and Muay Thai at like a local gym. So
Did you do?
not really. And then the Army has a combatives program, so I got
You did
that
combat.
sprinkled throughout my career, but not it's not as much as people think.
Okay, so really, your journey kind of started post retirement then.
I'd say my journey started kind of 2020. Like where I was like really focused and I started doing martial arts basically as almost as like a quote unquote full-time hobby. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, same, right? Okay, so would you? All right, so when you started training, did you mix any of the combatives with it, or you didn't? You weren't, or were you had enough exposure to it where you could do that?
So I had done like the basic Army combatives course, which is not a lot. It's basically the way I took it was actually spread out over several months, but normally it's like a week of 40. It's a week. It's 40 hours of training cumulatively. So I had taken that years before, so I knew a little bit about grappling. So I had like a small base, very small base in grappling, and I knew I didn't really necessarily want to do jujitsu at the time. So I started in karate, which I just seemed fun. So I kind of wanted to go that route. So I did karate for a couple of years, and then I actually moved because of the military. And the new gym I went started training at did FMA, karate. I'm sorry, FMA, Jeet Kune Do, and Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. FMA, Jeet Kune Do. Yes, thank you. And then I was like all of my styles like all kind of overlap by time periods. Like I'm rarely just doing one thing. I'm usually like layering multiple things um, at the same time. So that overlapped, and then combatives overlapped. That portion's there. So I went through the rest of the Army's pipeline for combatives. You know, basic, tactical, and then the master's course, which is a cumulative 7 weeks of training where all you do every day is train for like 8 hours a day.
Are they up to date? Are they up to speed, generally speaking?
Yeah, there. So if you went in pre 2009, it was a lot of there was 4 levels, and it was essentially a lot of Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, very heavily Brazilian Jiu Jitsu based. Post 2009, we started taking lessons learned from Iraq and Afghanistan and started pulling them into the course. So the course kind of changed post 2009, and they condensed it down into 3 levels. Previously to pre 2009, at one point they had some stick work in there. I'm not. I didn't go through it, so I'm not sure exactly what that looked like. But I know they did stick work, like inspired from FMA. Post 2009 is essentially striking from Muay Thai. I'd say like a white to blue level curriculum of the moves. That's not necessarily mean you can pull those moves off in rolling, but that's like what you have to know. And then a lot of it is weapons retention, right? So realistically, I don't necessarily have to go into a room and spar with someone in a house in Iraq. What is likely is I go into a room with my rifle and we start in a clench. So
Mm,
a lot of military combatives, you start from that clench position. Because if you're a problem and you're standing across the room, I just shoot you. I don't have to go over there.
yeah,
I
right,
don't
right.
right. I don't have to draw my knife and close the distance. Right. I shoot
Exactly.
you. And if that doesn't work, right, I pull my pistol and shoot you. And if that doesn't work, I pull my knife and stab you, push you off, and then shoot you. Right.
You get
So
okay.
sometimes people will be like, if you meet somebody who just does combatives for the Army and has never taken outside training, they're not going to be very good. But if you have someone who does combatives in the military and then trains Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, trains additional striking, trains FMA, trains Western Piper, do all the stuff we like, they're going to be good because they have that foundation on of reality. Plus, they get the time and exposure in the civilian world.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, yeah. That's interesting that because that makes sense. You're going in. I mean, obviously, I'm not gonna try to even simulate what you've gone through, but you're going in. Somebody jumps you to grab your weapon. You got to be able to, right?
Yeah,
Is that kind of okay? Gotcha. Yeah, Renee, you
and
got anything?
I should never be in a room by myself. I'm not going to say I've never done that. But I should, you typically have a team with you, right? So even if everything goes poorly, honestly, if I can survive for a couple of more seconds, my teammate's gonna run over and punch you in the face, hit you with his rifle, stab you in the face, shoot you in the face, right? Like that's why we operate in teams. It makes
Somebody,
things work.
somebody. I mean, yeah, I get you. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Wow. Renee, you got anything?
I'm just thinking. I'm just taking it all in right now.
Okay. No. I think it's fascinating. And so, all right. So you start to go. I mean, you start to train, and you like. Oh, so you're. What I guess from that one gym that you mentioned that you were doing some ground JKD FMA. Was that more the Ansano blend? I'm guessing. Yeah, that
Yep.
sounds right. Because the ground they had the JKD, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So
And
what
my
did
instructor Nathan was just at the Asado Academy, literally, I think this past weekend.
Nathan?
Nathan Hunt, yeah, yeah.
And okay, that name sounds familiar. Okay. I've definitely heard that name. When did you get a hold of Conrad? When did he come in the picture?
Uh, Probably 2020 or 2020. Probably it was right after I had kind of like started diving into martial arts. I got an email about Tiga Tactics, and I just generally liked knife stuff. I always found it interesting, and I got an email about a Karambit course, so I had signed up for that, and I took it out online. Met digitally Patrick and Conrad and their brand Tiga Tactics. They said they were doing a seminar in person, which was near my brother-in-law's place, so I went and actually went to the seminar. Made friends with them. They heard about my background, kind of got to know me a little bit better, and they asked me if I wanted to kind of help out and be like an assistant instructor, and that was like the snowball, and we've been growing ever since, and it's been a great relationship, and they've been great mentors as experienced martial artists who've been in the game a long time.
Yeah, Conrad, man, yeah, absolutely.
So you're not
Yeah,
teaching any outside groups right now, or you're not doing any of that?
As far as
Like, like you don't have like a group like regular civilians right now, or anything outside of the where you're staying.
So I teach the kids on campus. I occasionally sub for the adult and kids classes, Muay Thai at Florian Martial Arts here in Brookline, Massachusetts. I have a Western Piper group that I teach online.
I heard
Uh,
guys.
yeah, good
Yeah,
group. You may know them. Um,
I heard the main guy. He's some sort of cult leader or something. I don't know.
it seems like that, but
Yeah,
I'm still figuring it out. So
me too.
yeah.
He keeps sending me emails about zippers and boxer shorts, but that's a whole different
watch
story.
watch
Uh,
out, watch out for Dean Franco and WPM. I hear there's some shady stuff going on over there. I don't know.
He keeps wanting me to call him Mean Dean. I'm not sure what that's all about. Like,
I'm not sure either.
Yeah, and then I travel around and I go to like basically if there's a Tika Tactics in person seminar, there's like a 90% chance I'm going to be there, and I teach with Patrick and Conrad. Oh, and then
Mm,
me and Phil Elmore randomly. So through Phil Elmore does like all the books for the illustrations for the Western Piper. As a thank you, I offered to do like a webinar with him, and
yeah,
that kind of spiraled out of control, and we now have like this like crazy urban warlord. It's like series of seminars with like ranking structure, just as more of an accountability thing. But we've been doing
and
that for the last couple of months. It's been
you
fun.
have a new book that came out recently too, right?
I do. So the level Western Piper level 2 came out recently, and then this is my newest book on
yeah.
bladed combatives. So it's like a 300-page deep dive into the weird world of knife
The knife,
fighting.
the knife. I can see what your wife says, man. When you like when you like you go like okay, so like you got the level one book done, and then I get a message from you like a week later. Oh yeah, I'm like halfway through level two, and I'm like. And then the level two come out. You just mentioned me today about the level three. So you got like you obviously like you see things through, and once you start something, you seem like you're the type of guy that's got to see it through. Like you're not stopping, which is
Yes.
a
Yeah.
quality. Yeah, so that's all. What So obviously you got great feedback off the WPM books. I mean, great, fantastic. Burton thought the first one was really well done. Burton was there in the way beginning. So nothing but accolades on that. I haven't. Same thing with level two. Sure, level three. How you as far as the other book? What are you receiving on them?
A lot of good stuff. So my this is my best selling one, the Combatives Blueprint. Also about 300 pages. It basically goes through kind of every range, basically every range of combat as I defined it. Everything from support range all the way down to ground fighting, and it gives you like a couple of lessons learned and like a quick overview. So like if you're like a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, you're not going to pick up my book and be like, "Wow, I really learned something in the grappling section." Like I'm not going to teach you anything that you don't already know. But what's interesting is very few people have like the a depth of experience in every range. And then on top of that, because I was a competitive professional obstacle course racer for a decade. There's like a section on fitness, and because I think martial arts, teaching violence, knife work, shooting things without a foundation in ethics is not a good idea. There's a chapter on spirituality in here, and I even did a chapter on like dim mak and chi blast and stuff like that because I was like, why do people? I don't not no serious people talk about it now, but like it still comes up occasionally where people like the death touch or the chi blast, and I was like, there's got to be a hint of truth there, but it's not like obviously I'm not shooting fireballs like Ryu, So I kind of researched that and my conclusions are in here.
That's interesting because that whole gray area, dim mock, and like, was there any truth to it before it just got so far fetched? Like you said, it had to start from a strand of something. You know what I mean? Like, um, yeah, I think that's a good way of looking at it. It just God
Which is
knows.
weird because some FMA is turning into the same
Yeah,
thing.
no, I know. Oh gosh. Hope you read
I
Dean's
strike
book.
you with an abanico.
I was trying.
You will not get up for 3 to 4 days. Your
Cookie.
children will be born with curly hair.
Yes,
The abanico. Sorry, I crap on the abanico every chance I get.
my your
Although someone did hit me with one that really hurt, but that was Philip John, and
Mm.
he has a different way of using body mechanics.
executing them, huh?
Especially if I make fun of it, he'll hurt me with it.
You know. So knife, obviously, goes without saying. My interest in knife. I don't know, Blade Tech, Medusa, WPM, Medusa Evolution. I mean, what got you? I guess where you took a really intrinsic look at it and just obviously. I'm not going to, whatever drove you, whatever the driving force, or just, I mean, what was it?
I think it stems all the way back from like childhood and like every superhero action star had like a knife, right? Like Rambo knife.
Right.
Um, Lion-O has the Sword of Omens. He-Man's got the Power Sword. I think that's like where it stems from. And then as I always liked knives as a collector, and I got like in Boy Scouts, we used to have all sorts of knives. Like, I mean, I used to carry like knuckle knives and daggers, and we looked like a militant. We looked kind of crazy in hindsight, like blouse boots as Boy Scouts. And so it was always kind of there. And then, but I never learned like bladed arts or bladed fighting. When I got to my last job in the military as a combatives instructor, all of the guys in my gym were really good at something. We had a grappling guy, we had pistol guys, we had strikers, former pro MMA guys, and knives was like the only thing that other people hadn't like looked at, and I already had a foundation in it. because I threw Tiga Tactics, and then I was like, why don't I just go off the deep end and see where this rabbit hole goes? And I just started like basically researching every knife system, and I was like, there's got to be some value even in every knife system. But what do you actually need? What kind of enhancing, and then like what's like a little more artsy and kind of nice to have. So I went off the deep end and basically just I became the knife guy in the gym, and I just kind of researched it for used my job as an excuse for me to spend exorbitant amount of money going and training, with Shivworks and Craig Douglas and Marshall Blade Concepts, and then finding Medusa and Western Piper, and then like literally trying out basically every system I could find.
All right, you're gonna find. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna come to conclusions. The more you rock one turn, kind of what I did before I formed Late Tech. I mean, I went through a whole, just study. It started with Anasano blend, then Atienza, Seac, Dose Paris, Illusional, the Mako, and then the prison systems. But I think you need to do that to draw conclusions and to really come up with something that's relatable, viable, but you're sticking to integrity, moral compass, value system, and there's a lot that goes into it. Like you touched upon the spiritual
I think
aspect.
the more I think the
Mhm.
more time you spend in martial arts, there comes a point where I think a lot of people start veering off into the does this actually work lane, right? and and you start like just cutting the fat on some of the stuff that you train or were taught, right? I was the same thing. Uh, I boxed for years, Thai box. I got into Jeet Kune Do, and I went deep dive into Jeet Kune Do for almost 20 years, and then I came out and I was like, man, like those guys don't know how to Thai kick, you know. I know it sounds horrible, and again, let the hate mail come in. But it started making me go through all these different paths of, you know, going to these different arts and really being honest with myself if it'll work. And especially in the group that I belong to, not that I'm trying to make this about myself, but with the Daw Brothers, it's just like you'll know very quickly if it works or doesn't. And it
Yeah,
just makes you really hunt down people who are the real deal, right?
yeah. Dog, I mean, I think I referenced Dog Brothers in almost all of my books, even though I've never trained with you guys. But I've watched the videos online, and again, you guys are pressure testing to the extreme for stick work. So like, again, you're gonna find out if it works.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
man. Yeah, actually, Dean hurt me quite a bit when he came over. I just went to go shake his hand. He just like pow, just like he just wanted a pressure test to see if I was still on it. And
After
that
that
was
long day of travel, I couldn't stay composed anymore. I tried, but
yeah, he lost it. He lost it.
um, so through your deep study of life, are there any general conclusions? And before I share mine, I just want to see if you've come up with anything in the community, generally speaking.
Yeah, so I would say the big kind of again, if when you read through this book, the kind of the big things I started doing as I started looking at all these systems is I clumped them into three categories. The top, we can make a pyramid, right? The top of the pyramid, I would say, is pure combatives. This is what you actually need to know if you want to use a knife. It's basically Medusa. I would say put like Medusa, Tiga Tactics, and Shivworks in there. It's very simplistic. I'm stabbing whatever's open. It's very
Mm.
simple. There's not a lot of fluff there. It's reductionist. It tends to be binary. It means if you do option A, if that doesn't work, you do option B. B doesn't work, you go back to A. Then I'd say the next level down is enhancing. So it would be stuff where the problem with Medusa and Tiga Tactics and Shivworks is they're so simple, people won't train them a lot because you get bored immediately, right? You're like, all right, I got it. I just stab whatever's. I literally just do this, right? Like here's the Medusa angles: 1, 2, 3. That's it. Like I just taught you all of the Medusa angles. But the problem with that is then people don't get used to manipulating clothing. They don't get used to drawing. They don't get used to doing all the additional stuff that makes you. They don't get used to not cutting themselves, which is something people who only train with trainers seem to have an issue with. My opinion, because they never pick up a real blade, and then they do things with the blade that they wouldn't do with a real blade. So I would say, but the level two, which I call the top of the pyramid first. I call the middle level of the pyramid finishing. and I can't even remember my own system here. Uh, finishing and what is the other word I use? Okay, I'll check in a second. But it's basically blade systems that are still very combative. Western Piper being the one I've gone the deepest down. That gives you more reps behind a blade, and it helps. It's like the first couple of levels of contingency. What I really like about some of the stuff I like about Western Piper is like there are strikes from this like shelled position where like if
Mm.
my plan A hasn't started going quite the way I want, I might be here, but I can still strike, as you know, from because those are the positions we teach from.
Yeah.
So that's kind of that middle pyramid, and then that bottom section is stuff where you start getting into a lot more art. I call that part footwork and flow because you're gonna. Oh, I'm sorry. The middle section was finishing and flanking. That's what I called it,
Finishing
right?
and
Because
flank.
you're going to get used to getting off to angles, which is good, and you're going to get used to targeting certain things. And yes, it'd be great if you hit certain arteries and stuff, but realistically, I'm just hitting whatever's open. The benefit of knowing where all those arteries are is one, if you know where they how to wound someone, you know how to save them on
Mm.
the flip side, right? Because I know where those vital targets are. I know now if I'm cut there, that's something I should address first versus worrying about the what looks much worse, like an open gash to my leg. But if I've hit like a subclavian artery, right, like maybe I should start worrying about that first. And then the bottom part of the pyramid I call footwork and flow, and that's all the stuff like all the Pachiti Tertia, most of the FMA stuff, martial blade concepts where you start learning a lot of footwork and all the flow drills that are great attribute building drills. They're a ton of fun. I love doing them. They look beautiful, but I'm not going to do necessarily all those moves while I'm actually fighting someone. And I'd say the last part I'd say about the pyramid is if you're looking for your like pure bladed combatives, I would add in at the top of the pyramid, right below the knife systems, are grappling experience and striking experience. And the reason I put that in is because a lot of knife work, at least for the military, starts from entanglements. So if I can't control myself or control my opponent, I'm not even going to be able to get my weapon out. And if I can't strike it, if I can punch you in the face, I can take a knife and hit you in the face with it. Right. So that was kind of my logic. And then my other part of my logic was the people you're fighting against are not FMA practitioners. So they are not giving you, right? They're not giving you all these crazy angles. They are
Motor.
giving you the basic. They're at best they're strikers, at best they're grapplers. More than likely, they are untrained people who
Could be one.
do psycho jabs overhand or sewing machine towards the stomach. So that's where I played offense.
Doesn't make it any less dangerous, but they're not going to be
Sure.
sophisticated, right? But yeah,
Yes.
100% on that. I totally agree with you. Yeah, I mean that's interesting the way you kind of did that structure. Um, no, I agree with you. Yeah, on the bottom, if somebody's telling me that FMA before it was coined FMA wasn't tactic based. I just think through overcodification, money, spreading, all those reasons, I think it became bigger. And let's add more and more and more, and then it started to really not represent like what was happening out there. You know what I mean, so to speak. Not all, but
It's also a business, like, and then you got to bring people back to learn. And then you're also people, again, like kind of the problem at the top of the pyramid is people get bored. Like, how many times am I going to do Heaven 6? Like, you
this
got
is
to
great. The
gotta
first
start
time,
teaching me something new. Yeah.
yeah, you got like yeah, and there's nothing in that, and it just shows you how condensed and literally to the point it is, right there. But yeah, exactly after you've done it, yeah, you've done it, and it's not, and that doesn't mean that's bad, But and then you got that, and then on the opposite end, you got all this stuff, but it might not necessarily mean it's necessarily connected to functionality or what's going to come out, like you mentioned. But for those who enjoy the art, who the hell are we to tell them what they should or shouldn't do in their journey, right?
Yeah, and there's plenty of reasons besides pure combatives to get involved in like bladed arts, right? I mean, there's all of the normal benefits of martial arts, discipline and consistency, and learning a complex skill. And it like again, my pyramid picture here. The deeper down the pyramid you go, the more art it is, and the higher up the pyramid you are, the more combative it is. And it's not to
But
say one is
that's
necessarily better.
more, and that's also going to the money is also going to be like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Yeah. Robert, just yeah, money, yeah, 100%, right? The more you can add to your system, the more levels, the more years they got to go. Well, that translates into money. We got to be honest, right? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but kind of where, but I wanted as a military combatives guy. One, I don't, and I don't make like martial arts is not my profession, so I don't necessarily care. I mean, more money would be nice because I can train more. But I wanted to know like, well, what do I actually need to teach soldiers? So that was kind of like a lot of the driving force. So a lot of this is kind of focused in that direction. But at the same time, soldiers are in combat, right? I spend, I would say, an abnormal amount of time overseas deployed in combat zones. At the same time, I still spent 16 years in the United States walking around in civilian clothes, right? So like, there's a lot of you could say low vis if I was operating overseas, but civilian things where you like, how do I access a weapon or a tool for self defense, like a pocket knife, right? That's its own kind of thing.
Under
So
pressure, right? Yeah.
yeah, under pressure, absolutely. So.
Uh, yeah, I mean, have you ever considered? I know you got a couple years left of as far as what you're doing now, but have you ever considered maybe that you would go back and try to train military, or has that been a thought?
I would more than happy to do like contracting jobs where like I come and train for a little bit. As far as like anything, obviously the priesthood is my full time path forward. But the army had enough of me. I had enough of the army. So
Right.
I'm definitely nothing in uniform. I would come back as a contractor to like run some seminars or like classes, but not as like a full time thing.
Yeah. You okay? No, no, no. You did your. I get it. I get it. Okay. Yeah. Renee, you got it. Oh, you're can't hear you.
Renee has gone quiet.
He's gone quiet.
Yeah.
Can't be anything that's serious because we were hearing him before. That's strange though. Nope. He's gonna
Oh,
try.
yeah.
Yeah, he'll try. I'm sure it couldn't be anything that. Yeah. So what do you? Here's my. Okay. Let me. I'm gonna get just from the years of FMA discussion, seeing the content coming in there, obviously Blade Tech and all that. What What do you think about what you're seeing as far as like knife defense? God
Yeah.
forbid you got to go against this thing. You can, and again with specific context. Oh, he's back.
Yeah.
You can't run. I mean, you got loved ones to protect. You maybe the aggressors behind him, whatever the scenario that you have to engage in this. What do you like?
Can you
Before
hear
I
me
tell
now?
you, what do you think?
Yeah. Knife to empty hand versus knife is it's a difficult problem, and you're increasing percentage points. I'm not going from like 10% to 90%. So it's not like this huge, oh, like this is going to work every time. So I think we need to set expectations up front. That's the first thing, which I know you know. The second thing is a lot of knife defense doesn't address how criminals actually attack, which is essentially what Medusa looks like. It's essentially reciprocating. It's thrust to the midsection, it's overhand, or it's kind of these wide hooks, right? So if it's not addressing essentially primarily that side and not addressing the reciprocating, then already we're at a problem, because a lot of knife defenses, you come in and it stops and they like frozen in time, and then you
Just
You
to
guys hear
disarm
me at
them.
all?
We
happen.
got you now, Renee. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
So when
Yeah,
it comes to empty hand versus knife, and I have one chapter on it in here. I don't go, this is mostly knife offense, but there's some knife defense in there as well. I think you need a plan that is executed violently and without hesitation in the moment.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. There's
and
no
it,
yellow light, man. Should I go? Should I stay? I mean,
yeah,
like,
it
yeah,
because there's not like 100% like the perfect plan. You need to just pick one and like send it full force. So like for me, from the stuff I looked at, I like Tiga Tactics at distance, which essentially has you doing the flinch response, but you kind of weaponize the flinch response, kind of like the spear Tony
Uh,
Blauer type stuff. So it's basically an X block, and then you drive in to prevent the reciprocating arm, and then you capture that 2-on-1 grip. Um, that's for knife at distance. For in close, I like Shivworks stuff, but Shivworks starts in the entanglement. So I start with like an underhook and overhook, and essentially you're starting from grappling, right? Which I prefer not to go into if I can avoid it. But and then I liked knife control concepts. They teach a lot of like knife grappling stuff as supplemental work to like support that Shivworks base. And Shivworks is very much like Medusa, much like Tika Tax. It's very binary and reductionist. So like do A. If A doesn't work, do B. If B doesn't work, go back to A. If A doesn't work, go back to B. So you have this like violent plan that you're just kind of like forcing through it. I like what you've done with Blade Tech. That's why I'm still sticking around and I'm still kind of exploring it. But I like, you address the. Yeah, a lot of people when the knife comes in, they're like they grab or they hit the. It's hard to catch the knife hand. So I like you've got like that barn catcher thing to help kind of like address. Hey, it's hard to catch just a pure wrist. So like I like how that addresses that problem, and I like how you kind of drive in to address the reciprocating problem. And I'm enjoying learning some of the attribute stuff. So I know you've got such a huge wealth of knowledge from all of the FMA you've done. So I think it's a cool system to be a part of. I do give you a quick shout out in here, but I
I
didn't
did.
have that much. Yeah, I didn't have that much information on it, so I just mentioned that you have your own like amalgamation of stuff that looks good. So
I appreciate that. Yeah, yeah. It's hard. It's one of the hardest things to do in martial arts if you're doing it with integrity and honesty.
yeah.
There's going to be failures, and if you're not failing, 99% of the time is you're not getting a realistic feed, or they're not continuing the realistic feed. You know what I mean? Generally speaking, it's
I think that's what's missing nowadays, to be honest with you guys. I'm so sick and tired of, and Dean gets the brunt of my anger when I vent about this stuff because I just get livid about some of the stuff's being taught out there. Before Dean muted my mic,
I did.
I was trying to talk about, like I was trying to say, with FMA and how it's de-evolved. It's, like there's systems out there that teach 64 attacks or 37 attacks, but it's like you're only using four to fight with. Like, why not focus on those four?
And
Get
make
those
them.
perfect. And then maybe try to add one of those other ones and see if you can make it work once you've mastered those four, right? It makes me
Yeah,
crazy. And sadly, I'm seeing that with some of the stuff I'm seeing with Krabi Krabong now, where it used to be a very simple art. This is the way you attack, and this is how you're gonna do it. And now I'm seeing all this craziness that's going in. It's like, oh, we should wear feathered hats. Everybody get a feathered hat. You know,
I,
it will distract people. It's like, no, you don't need it. And again, I think that's the difference, like you said before, is the difference between people who want to use this because you want to scrap, and then the people who are just like, I like the art and I want to stay healthy, or I like the cultural aspect of it, and I have no problems with that. And I say it, I've said it in every episode so far, I think. That's
yeah.
cool. Just be honest about it.
That's it.
yeah,
Integrity
I
on.
agree.
You know, like which here's the thing too, and that's so big. And this is I've had shows on this, mentioned FMA discussion several times. Knife is where you're talking about injury, maiming, and death. So if you're teaching what you construe as pressure tested, realistic knife defense, you got to be able to demonstrate it, knowing that it's not going to be 100%, obviously variables, setting, conditions, surface conditions, et cetera, et cetera. But at least you're able to demonstrate, not only articulate, but you're able to demonstrate under to a certain degree of pressure testing and there, but at least you're being integrity to self and honesty to the student base or whatever the audience is. The problem is you got some folks out there that are not making that distinction. And the reason why they're doing it from 6 years of my discussion, and I'm dead on this, I'm not going to say names, but
Say the
because
name.
they have to deal with that question. So they put it just out there, knowing they're not, hey, this is the art. No, they're not saying that. You know what I mean? So it's left to you to decide. But at the same time, you're starting to get to ethics, in my opinion.
You know what bothers me about a lot of the stuff too is the cleanliness that it's taught with. It's like, oh, you can grab a guy by the back of the head with a knife, and you can do this with a knife, but they don't talk about the trauma that happens during that, right?
No.
There's going to be blood splatter. It's going to get messy. There's going to be screaming and yelling. Your hands are slippery, you know, all this stuff, and all the nastiness that comes with that. And they make it seem so, they sterilize it so much that
Yeah.
they think it's going to be that it's okay. You just cut them across the neck and then the inside of the bicep, and oh, now you're free. It's like, no, you killed somebody. You're going to jail.
Yeah. The
Paying
one.
the sentence, right? And you know,
Even if
circumstances.
you're justified, you know how long it takes for that, especially in Canada, to go through the court systems, and even then you're screwed. Like, we had a guy here who shot at a tree because people were firebombing his house, and he went to jail. And it
Crazy.
took him 2 years to get out of that. Like, think about that for a second, right?
That's terrible. That's just yeah. I'm
So
sorry.
when
We
we
didn't.
when we teach Fatiga tactics, we show real world knife videos. And
Mhm.
honestly, like we teach a knife seminar sometimes in Fatiga tactics, and part of the seminar is like, are you going to carry a knife? Like, yes, we're teaching you how to use it, but like that's a personal choice because, like all you're saying, there's a lot of like emotional trauma that comes with it, social stigma. If now with like there's cameras everywhere and everyone's got a phone, like it's
Yeah.
probably going to go online. Are you okay with people judging you who don't know your incident? And then there's the financial problem, the legal problem. Like it's not something that should be taken lightly, and it's something that you should be explored before like you're like, I'm going to train knife for actual self-defense. But if you want to train for art, like you were saying, plenty of great
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll say this, and it's also like because I have told this story many, many times, so I'm really sorry to everybody. But I remember when some of my students started carrying blades, and knives for me were something I grew up with. The firearms are something I grew up with. And I got my first Bowie knife when I was in South America. I was going through the Orinoco Basin, hanging out with natives, like have a little Bowie knife and stuff. But when some of my guys started carrying knives, like we bought a pig leg and we started slicing, just basic slicing. And these guys were going, they were like the knife would go in, then they're punching the bone. They didn't think they weren't even going that hard. And some of the guys stopped carrying. Like one guy was like dry heaving on his first slice. I thought it was amazing. Um,
yeah.
and I was making fun of him the entire time. But that was, I think, the reality check that person needed because he was intelligent enough to realize the intent of what he had in his pocket.
Mm.
Right on, Brian. Yeah, it's yeah. I don't carry. People say, "What do you mean? You teach all this and you got these systems? You don't carry a knife?" No, I don't carry a knife.
He carried two.
Yeah,
He
no,
carries
I don't.
two. And the reason he carries two is because three is ridiculous.
History in having a rig, but I don't. I mean, now, do I carry a tactical flashlight? Absolutely. Do I carry a Sharpie? Yeah, but I don't carry it just
It's
because.
really odd to see Dean walk around with a flashlight, though. I'm not sure what that's all about.
Well, I can show you.
Oh, a flashlight. Now I understand what you're talking about. Sorry, Evan. It's just he does this, right? He
I
brings it
got
out
it.
of
I got it.
me.
Next time we see Doug, I'm going to we're going to be. but uh, but I'm
So,
telling you, it's
last thing I'll say about kind of empty hand knife defense is some of the stuff. So again, I've watched a lot of CCTV video, largely through Tiga Tactics, and when me and Phil Elmore were doing all these like weird webinars on pop knives and knives, I was doing a lot of research on like actually looking at data and some of the big things that people always forget about, but it doesn't solve that immediate problem of like the skill set of knife, empty hand versus knife, but like 30 to 50% of knife problems can be solved by not hanging out with like bad people and doing stupid things. Like
a
Tiga
good place.
Tactics has a phrase, don't do stupid things with stupid people at stupid times and stupid places. And a lot of the knife attacks I looked at were spousal issues. It was like specifically targeting specific people because of arguments. It was like road rage or drunken incidents that escalated. Right. So if you're like a nice person, 50% of the attacks go out the window right away. And then if you
Yeah,
have like a job where you're at work most days, like that gets rid of like another 30% of the attack. So it really starts chipping away at it. And then lastly, I'll say uh, the a lot of the knife attacks. especially the ones where it's random, where like a random guy's just going around stabbing people. A lot of the ones I saw, the guys would stab. He was going for numbers. He's not going for kills, right? So
Just
if you put up any sort of defense, bar and catch, like Tiga tactics, like any sort of defense, and you start fighting back, he's gonna be like, "This is not the right dude. I'm
he's
gonna go
gonna.
to someplace else."
I think that's fair. Like he's just going to go to an easier target or whatever. Yeah, absolutely on
Yeah,
that. We got a question.
You know, it's funny because a lot of times I do the same thing. I like not that I like watching those videos, but it gets the frame of mind in.
yeah,
And sometimes when they speak to these criminals, they always say, "I don't mess with people who seem like they're squared away. Like if I will not mess with somebody who walks, with their head up, or is not
Mm,
looking on their phone, or doesn't have their ear pods
yeah,
in. If they look like they're gonna do something, they normally they'll just stay away. And I find that with anybody really. You know if you look not just look the part, but if you're vigilant enough, I think that's going to cut down.
yeah,
And when you talk about people getting attacked and stuff, I know a lot of people when they go on vacation and they go to a resort because that's their thing. I always tell them stay on the resort, especially if you're in a country where it's poor. They're going to be pissed at you that you're there, and you know it changes things. It's like again, stupid things, stupid prizes, sort of thing.
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We
And
got
to
a question.
answer, can I answer Brian's question next? What do you say? You train with slick hands, like vegetable oil? Only when my shirt's off, Brian.
I have not like specifically rubbed my hands down in vegetable oil, but that is an absolute valid concern and something you should
Huh?
you should get used to using your actual whatever knife you're going to use. You should be used to if you're military, you should train with it in gloves. See if you can actually pull it out of the sheath in gloves, and then make sure your hand's not sliding off of it. So absolutely, a very good point. I've heard people use vegetable oil. I've heard people use other various slick lubricants to make sure your hand doesn't slide. But
So,
yeah.
it's interesting. Yeah, definitely has a dimension. I'm just making sure I'm caught up with all the. Okay, many of the countries. Yeah, Latin America. Yeah, Europe. Yeah.
Well, you got to think where things are illegal or things are cheap, right? Or expensive. Firearms are expensive in a lot of countries, right?
Knife, right?
And traceable. I think it's easier to go down to some head shop and just buy a piece of crap knife because it doesn't need to do a lot of work, right? Like that's another thing. People are like, they like my new Defense System 5000 knife that I bought for $7,000, and it's engraved and it's got all these serial numbers. Yeah, that's great. And then you watch the video of someone attacking somebody, and it's an IKEA kitchen knife.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, that last webinar we did, I looked at 50 different attacks. I saw zero knives that looked like anything I own besides kitchen knives. It was like
It's,
all kitchen knives, right? And
that's
I'm a knife nerd, right? I love fancy knives. It's like for me, it's like fancy watches that for some people, right? Like $300 Dynamis Alliance knife. I'm in, like but that's not what criminals are using. They're using literally anything that's sharp, and
yeah.
a lot of times it was a kitchen knife, and then you look at prisoners, and it's sharpened plexiglass, it's bed frames, you don't need something fancy. If you want something fancy, that understand it's largely for personal, like aesthetic reasons.
Those knives. I
Oh
tell you,
wow,
man, they're expensive
bicycle spokes. That's crazy.
folders, $1,000. You know what I mean? Depending on the maker, and you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And if they're numbered, 100 made, and you got numbered two or something like that, or whatever.
In Venezuela, I remember everybody had a piece of crap machete. Like everybody had one. It was just like even the cops carried them. That's how they were. They was actually slappy with with the edge of it, with the flat end if you did something bad. So I
Mm.
heard. I heard that somewhere.
You can see the spider codes in those videos. Yeah, you don't see. Yeah, right. Or Emerson's, or yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
the closest thing I found was like again the 50 attacks I looked at. It was basically all kitchen knives, and then I saw one folder, and it looked like a folder that your grandpa would pass down, like the wooden handle with the gold top and the gold bottom. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Just like standard two hands opening folder. No Emerson wave, no zip ties attached. It's just like
It's like down in South Africa, though, cappies, wooden handle, throwaways, things you could pick up for a song and you could just toss. And, I mean, Lloyd told me many times they were just the perfect throwaway. You know what I mean? Yeah, so makes sense, right? Um, what, uh, what would be if somebody asked you what they should train in knife? Obviously, you go to for our systems, you're obviously going to, get an intake, what their value system is, what they're looking to get. Based on that, though, and how specific they were or they weren't, would you give them an overall lens? Well, I would recommend checking this out or this out. In other words, if somebody asks me that, I'm going to tell them you should look at dueling sparring. My argument is the better you can understand that, the better for a better defense, because at least you're knowing there. It's like how you're going to defend against a boxer if you don't even understand like boxing punches, right? But at the same time, I would say, look, you should also look at these prison systems, not just from the stabbing, but how they get close to you, like that whole pre-violence dialogue, encroachment, and all that. What's your opine on that?
Yeah, no, I think after you kind of look again, kind of make sure they're ethical and they're like a sound mind, right?
Right.
Not that what's the other funny part is like you don't even need to train knife systems. Like criminals aren't training knife systems, right? So like you don't need to train it to be able to use the sharp pointy thing, right? It's pretty intuitive. Um, I would ask what their goals are. That's kind of the big thing. Like, what are your goals? Are you looking for pure combatives? If you're looking for pure combatives, like go to Medusa and then go do some, striking and grappling training. If you're looking for something a little bit more combative, that's going to keep you around for you get to those more reps in, head over to Western Piper, or some of the other kind of what I call like tier two systems, not necessarily that it's a bad thing. But if you're looking for community, if you're looking for art, if you want to be more performance based and get some of the additional skills as well, like go to do more of like the traditional FMA type stuff. And I would recommend people even check out Medusa and some of like NT Tactics or Shivworks, just so you're like, hey, this is what real knife violence is going to look like. I understand that. I'm not interested in training. It's too much for me. Like I'm gonna go back to the art stuff, and it's gonna be great, and I'm gonna have fun. But again, like we were saying earlier, Renee, like just be honest with yourself. What are you looking
I,
for?
dare I, dare I say, if you are looking for something like that, you got to learn how to first, besides the training, which is fantastic, and yeah, you definitely need it. But I think you need to take control of that adrenal state as well, because a lot of people don't. They think they're just going to walk into the system and it's going to be open door. Look at me, everything is fine.
Mm,
And in some of my first fights, I couldn't hear people because that's how hard my heart was pounding.
Mm,
I can't imagine what it's like, the first time you breach a door, or even just in training, what your body's going through, what your mind's going through, to the point where it's like, I know what's going to happen when I walk through that door, when I step on that mat. I think that makes any kind of training afterwards a lot easier because you have the mindset of, I know what's going to happen to a certain degree, and I can deal with that kind of energy. Now I can focus on what I want to work on. So that's the only thing I would say.
absolutely. Another good point. There's so many parts to it, right? Like I can teach you the one skill, but like you're saying, there's this whole mindset portion and like stress inoculation that is going to allow you to use that stuff in reality. And then, like Dean was saying, pre-violence, decisions you're making beforehand, and the decisions obviously in the moment, and then post-violence. Like there's a lot to it, which again is why knife offensive knife use is pretty simple, but I somehow managed to run my mouth for 300 pages because I talk about like a lot of that in the book. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah,
so
it's
go
funny.
ahead.
The first time I got to go into like a shoot room sort of thing scenario, and there's some people who actually knew what they were doing, and then there was me, right? And their groupings were like this, and mine just looked like I got a handful of rocks and threw them at a wall. And I was like this, I was trying to talk to people, and I was like, yeah, everything's good, and they were just like, dude, you need to breathe, right? So it was pretty cool. One thing you haven't mentioned is where can we get that book?
So I would order it directly from me off of my website, ultraocrman.com. It's also available on Amazon, much like the Western Piper books. I have them purposely priced very high on Amazon, just to get
Just
that kind of that
hey,
ethical check ahead of time, right? So if you don't want to deal with talking to me for more than an email or two, because I literally ask a couple questions and then I sell you the book. If you don't want to deal with that, you can buy the full price version on Amazon. But
And
I,
again, just like every other show, if you mention Dean's name, you will get 0% off.
zero. Emphasis on zero. Yes. But guys, I highly recommend. Yeah, I just got yours recently, and starting to go through it now. My son is. We're going back and forth with it actually. But just
Dean's been
another.
sending me photocopies of the pages, which is really nice of you, Dean. Thank you.
That's okay. That's okay. Thank
So
you
it scans now. He's been scanning the pages.
for
it's gonna be doing that for a long time. I
yes.
Yes.
guess
Thank you.
But he does it really bad, like his hands are inside while he's scanning it. It's just, I don't know.
Oh
I'm
my.
not sure what he's doing.
Yeah. We. You touched. I think the pre. Just to go back to like what I think, and some are addressing it. Don't get me wrong. And dare I say, I hate to make these generalizations, but I think you can just again based on my evidence of FMA discussion 6 years, seeing what's coming in there. The whole thing is pre-violence. How did they get there? Like that whole thing of like of dealing with like to me that is such a component of this and art within the art of just addressing that and doing mock drills, if you will, like I do in Blade Tech, for instance, because well, yeah, I'll know what to do. No, you won't, because you're not working, you're not practicing out, you're not playing it out. What do you mean you know what you're gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, what's your opinion on that?
that's important. In the same way we train in the military. One, we do crawl, walk, run, and then we also do individual tasks, essentially collective tasks, and then like full mission profile. We call it. So we not only take things T tactics, we call it slow, smooth, fast, but you make it progressive, right? As you learn this, it starts off very slow to make sure the movement's correct, and then it gets faster as you progress. Same way we teach in Western Piper. But we also do individual tasks first, and then team class, and then collective tasks. And that allows you, right? So I can focus on just the knife disarm. But then you build in scenario training that has the pre incident, all right? It's like kind of like Shiv works, managing unknown contacts, keeping your hands up, getting the fence, etc. And then doing the post training stuff, talking about, well, what's this going to look like in the aftermath? What are you going to say when the cops show up? How are you going to behave? Right? I think all of that's important. Most people want to focus on the very narrow, what's happening in the exact moment. But if you want to be a completionist, like if you want to know the whole deal, you should look at left of bang, bang, and then post bang, right? Like you should know that whole process. So I think it's important. It's a lot of people tend not to, they just either lose interest or
That's a
that stuff, sometimes that stuff's not sexy to teach, right? Like people want
yeah.
to people want
They
to
want
line up with knives against each other and swing rubber sticks at each other, and
to
yeah.
jump to the targeting and where to go and how this is going to take somebody out, and then it's just like, but that's such an important dialogue that's missing. And then I would also argue, what the aftermath. Well, okay. Well, after you disarm, which I'm going to cover the next one. Like, okay, what do you do now? Have you thought about that? Have you played it out? Have you framed them out so they don't come back at you? I mean, like, have you looked through this? What about your loved ones? Or did you keep them at bay so they could get out? I mean, like, there's just so much to think about. But I think you're doing a disservice to your consumers or your students if you're not giving all this. Or
You have to cut the Hollywood bullshit out of it. I think that's what people don't like.
uh,
And that's what pisses people off. Like I used to tell people, like, when are you safe after a fight? And and then people, it's like, oh, you may check around. I'm like, no, you're safe when you get back home. But the second you leave your house, you're not safe again because there's people out there who will never forget the fact that you punched them in the face. And that's just the way I feel. That's the way I feel about, when it comes to general violence and stuff like that. And I think that's the problem. People watch movies and then there's people who teach some of the stuff are like, I need to make money. And yeah,
mm,
I'll teach you the John Wick special, right? Or whatever. And then they
social media.
believe it.
Now you can look at the reach, right? Look at the audience reach now. You know what I mean? Like you see
Oh,
the stuff
listen,
that's
like
coming.
we've discussed this ad nauseum where we talk about martial arts instructors. Like when I was apprenticing, it was like a thing, right? It was like being offered a job apprenticeship. It's like we're gonna finally now we can talk about it.
Did you help him out? Did you
What
get
the
sick
hell?
of
No, we talk about it. No, when you cut my mic off and now it's this.
it? I think you got sick of Evan and you kicked him out.
I think maybe what happened was they cut the lights there at a certain time.
He's back. It must have been Evan. That wasn't me.
Am I back?
I swear that wasn't me.
So Dean, I don't care what you say about Evan. I think he's a good guy, and kicking him off like that was just uncalled for.
I think my phone started overheating. I had to take off the cover, give it some cool air here.
Evan knows I would not kick him out. Oh my god.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, going back to, I'll just say it's just there's so many people teaching that Hollywood garbage, and back in the day when you got an apprenticeship, it was an apprenticeship. Like now it's a weekend course.
Mm.
It's insane. It's insane what's going out there.
No,
So
it
I'm
doesn't mean.
sorry that Dean kicked you out because he's not normally like this.
What's that?
So you're not normally like this. You don't normally don't kick people off.
Uh, jeez. Evan, please just
It's
disregard.
that water he's drinking.
Yeah.
He didn't give the right answer I was looking for. He didn't say what I wanted to say. He's got to go. um, no, this has been. You got anything, Renee? I mean, well, here I do. I mean, I got. I don't know how much time you got, but like, so what? Okay, future goals. Like, what do you? I know you got 2 years left, or, in the ministry. I mean, but like, what? Other than that, what do you got going on, or you hope to have going on?
So kind of the martial arts world. I'm continuing to train. I want to continue to train in striking art. Currently, it's Muay Thai. I continue to train Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. Long term goal is obviously to get a black belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. So that's still years away. But chipping away at that piece by piece. Um, and then in the knife world, I've kind of found the answers I'm looking to, and now I'm just kind of still playing in that world because I enjoy it. I just think it's fun, which is part of martial arts training. Then on like the personal side, obviously spending time. I got a wife, I got 2 kids, right? So spending a lot of time with them, and I like kind of combining my faith with kind of odd, like with violence. Like I think, to be a strong person and then be nice to people you're coming from a position of strength, right? So T Tax we call it kind by choice. I think Jordan Peterson has some other phrases where he talks about like, you know, it's like a weak something about. I'm not going to butcher the quote, but it has to do with like if you're being nice to people, it's because it's from a position of strength. It's not from a position of weakness. I'm not being nice because I'm scared of you. I'm being nice because I choose to be nice.
Yeah.
And I think that fits really well with like Christian ethics. So I'd like to combine that and teach some like martial arts with like a faith based at my parish one day. Maybe we'll see. And then other than that, like selling books largely.
Huh?
I don't necessarily do it to make money. I do it to make money only because it funds more training.
That's good. Nothing wrong with that. I teach to fund my meat training, so there's
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that. Yeah, nothing
yeah.
wrong with
Like
that.
I'm not looking to get rich off of books, but the
Right.
fact that it pays for training, it makes it no longer. It's
That's
no
great.
longer like should I spend $50 here or $50 there. It's like I'll make this up in book sales. Like we're just gonna send it, and maybe it'll make me a better teacher if I go. So it turns my training of martial arts into an investment where I'm investing in myself, going training, and then I produce content on the back end, which back pays me for my
I
training.
think it's
So
great. I think it's great to do that. Like, yeah, like
What's
I'm not getting rich teaching like knife stuff. Or, yeah, yeah, right. But it facilitates me to continue in my instructors. I mean,
yeah.
I think every seminar I've taught combined has not even come close to the money that I've spent in training. It's like, oh, it must be great. You're training all over, teaching all over the world, blah blah blah. And it's like it hasn't even come close to the money I've spent, searching
And
stuff out.
yeah, it's I'm chipping away at my costs slowly. The other thing I'll say is that getting into the combatives bladed arts world, I've had random people reach out to me about faith, and it's given me like a because I'm in that world now. And I've had people who I don't necessarily know in person reach out to me and like share very personal stuff, and I think that is beautiful. And sometimes they're asking questions for help, or they're just simply asking me to pray for them. And I think that's like a really, for me personally, it's like a really cool connection to be able to reach out and pray for people.
That is.
Yeah, that's actually how I met. That's how I met Dean. He he reached out, just started sending me pictures and stuff, and I was like, dude, like I think that looks infected. You know, maybe you should go see a doctor. And you know,
Renee, you're
slowly
gonna
we
give us an
became
X
friends.
rating on this. You're gonna get a shadow banned here, man.
But yeah, actually, I was gonna say, you know, if you like Muay Thai, you should maybe look into Krabi Krabong because it's like Muay Thai with sticks in your hands. Some of the
Very
stuff's
cool.
pretty cool. And
I was
one
training
question I was gonna have,
it too. So you can.
one last question is, so after you got 2 years left, where are you going after that? Are
So
you?
yeah, the Orthodox Church is very much structured like the military. It's very hierarchical. Except we don't have a pope. There's no like single person in charge. It's like
Again,
Over here.
Dean, what did he say now?
I didn't like.
Give me a second, buddy. I'll be there in a second.
It's got to be
Yep.
his phone overheating, right?
You want me to entertain you with a magic trick in the meantime?
Oh, please do.
Okay, here we go. Ready? Here we go. Watch. You watching?
I'm watching.
Okay, watch.
Oh my God, that is insane. I've never seen anything like that.
That's crazy. I can teach you that for 19.95 an hour.
Oh, bless you. I would have that skill.
Well, there's another way you can do it too, is you can just grab it and just.
Where Evan, Nate could tell you that it wasn't.
all right. Let's see if that you got me now.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Thank you. I was
So,
running out of
Sorry,
material
my
with
phone started overheating. My phone's overheating here.
so Renee, I guess Renee, you were asking a
So,
question, I think.
yeah, what was going to happen afterwards? Like, where is he going next? Where is he going to be?
yeah, it's very hierarchical. Especially
That you broke
so
up,
the
Evan.
essentially when I graduate, my bishop. Oh, give me a second here.
This phone, I think, is giving him issues. Oh, he's back now. Okay. Here we go. Okay. He
All
relocated.
right, could you have me now?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay, yeah, my phone's starting to overheat.
That's okay. You wrap up. So yeah, so Renee was asking kind
I
of yeah.
Yeah, so it's so essentially when I graduate, my bishop will either tell me to go someplace, or he will give me a couple of choices, and I will pick one. But basically, because I came from the Midwest, I will go back to the Midwest, which includes like anywhere between Texas and North Dakota, plus or minus a state on each side.
You were
So you
from
won't come. So you're not
right?
coming to Canada. That's what you're saying.
I'm not coming to Canada. I'm from the Greek Orthodox Church of America, so they
You
will
will
send me back to specifically the Denver metropolis, which covers the entire Midwest. I will go back to someplace in the Midwest.
Awesome.
were
Yes.
Kansas, weren't you at one point?
Say again.
Missouri or Kansas?
I was, yeah. I've lived in Missouri and Kansas, which is part of the Denver metropolis. So, yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. Well, hey, I really appreciate you coming on. I'm sorry for the confusion that you thought was Sunday, but we just couldn't get enough of you, so I'm sorry. We had to bring you back, So
Yeah, it was pretty funny. I was like, "Oh, are we still recording? Oh, cool. Yeah, yeah." I thought the FMA discussion episode was this episode, and I was like, "Oh, I thought it was just me. Okay, I guess we're doing a group. That's fine."
no, no, yeah, yeah, no, it worked out great. Yeah, I'm glad we did it. I want definitely you to share to the folks, your military. Obviously goes without saying your service, obviously much appreciated. Thank you.
My
Yeah.
pleasure.
Thanks.
I think you're just an all around great guy. From what I know of
Sorry.
you,
Is that me? Me or Evan?
I have to give
I'm
you.
working on being a better guy.
You are, but I'm trying to build you up. So, but so yeah, it's been a working project, Renee, and we're getting you there. So, but yeah, thanks for coming on. It's great stuff as always, Evan, and I'm sure we'll be in touch. And yeah,
Yeah, I'm going to reach out and get one of those books or a plethora of books. So
Yeah,
I'm
but yeah,
looking
please
forward to that.
please hit me up. Renee and Dean, thank you both for having me on. And then Dean, thank you for all you do for FMA, bladed arts, all that stuff. Like it's been, I'm so glad we got to make the connection through Medusa and then Western Piper and then now Blade Tech. So it's been a great journey, and you've been a great teacher, and I always learn stuff from you. So thank you.
Are you talking
appreciate
about
it.
this, Dean?
This
Dean
Dean,
Frank?
yeah, he says he drops nuggets of
Wow.
wisdom sometimes.
Wow. The check cleared, Dean.
Well, there's been a few that have gone out, so I'm concerned. I mean, if they had stamps on them, and I put it on, but yeah. So, all right, awesome. Appreciate it, Evan. I'm humbled and honored to have you aboard in any regard. I just think you're just that great of a human being. So, yeah.
Honors all mine.
So, but give my regards to Conrad. He's another fellow there that's phenomenal. Your group there on Tuesday. Oh, folks, Evan teaches on Tuesday nights. Fantastic group. He does a great job. Evan's soon going to be, we're prepping him for instructor. So that's not going to be too far away. And he's doing a great job. So if you have an interest in WPM and you have nothing to do at 9 o'clock at night, Eastern time, check out Evan's class.
Well, you got an online class?
I do. So essentially, I run it through my Patreon channel. I have a Patreon channel, patreon.com/Greek Combatives. And that's how I coordinate through. I teach WPM through that, but then there's also a ton of other content on there. Like I have something like 400, anything from anywhere from like 3-minute videos to like hour-long things where it's a lot of content. Like you can sign up for a month and try to binge all the content. I don't think you can get through it in a month. I think it'll take you like a couple of months, even if you're watching stuff every day.
I'm trying to get Dean to put his scenario vids out because he's got some crazy, like some really good, like self-defense ones. He's got one where it's like a room and it's like three bears, and he comes in and he's, oh, never mind. Well, that's a whole different story.
Wrong show, Renee. Wrong episode.
I think that's supposed to be behind a paywall. I think you guys are supposed to have that behind a paywall, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Is
he's
that?
got it on something. I thought it was a fixtures place called Only something, like
Yeah.
OnlyFans. I'm not sure what it is. But
FMA discussion OnlyFans. FMA discussion after dark. That's should we
I
should go with.
that is that after dark, Evan. Absolutely. Yes.
Uh,
It's a paid get you have to paid. It's low subscription, but people, yeah, very unusual, unique content. Yes.
I'll sit that one out
disturbing.
as a future
Disturbing.
man of the cloth here, but
You should probably, yes. I would not want to compromise your goal in that regard. So
thank you.
I haven't slept in quite some time after watching some of Dean's content.
it has been forever compromised.
My wife says I wake up screaming. I'm not sure what that's all about.
Yeah. See what I got to contend with.
But again, just like knife videos, you need to watch it in video first, so when you experience it in real life, it's less traumatizing.
Oh, yeah, it's desensitizing.
Right,
Yeah, it's
exactly. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right.
uh,
All right, guys.
thank you,
Well,
Evan.
thank you. Take care. We'll be in touch, obviously.
Awesome. Thank you, Dean. Thanks, Renee.
All right, man.
That was a good one. Enjoyed that. You know,
Yeah, we
just
should go
because,
live with that next time.
yeah, I know. I forgot to hit that like button. Yeah.
So, talking to that dude in France, just trying to coordinate with that. Um, other than
Okay.
that, I'm just working on a couple things. You got anything
Hey,
happening or any ideas?
yeah, I do. I got one I'm just waiting to hear back from him. We could put him in for next Wednesday. I'm just waiting to hear back. But yeah, so yeah, let me
You
know.
wanna give us a hint, or am I just gonna be in suspense the entire time?
Oh, his name is Carlos. No, it's no secret. I'm just waiting to hear back from him. Really.
Sorry, did you say LT Gray?
Well, that's the following Wednesday. I didn't. I was actually going to try to keep that surprise, but
LT Gray. That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. So
That's what we actually called Eric O'Brien, isn't it? LT Gray.
no, he's just broken rhythm by default.
Yes.
Tourette, yeah. So, um, jeez,
The crouching manther.
yes. So, but yeah, let me know. I should hear back from this, but absolutely, we'll make something happen for next Wednesday. Yeah,
All right.
I'm
And
getting a
yes,
lot. Just
Nicholas, good people are hard to find, and I need time.
Renee needs time. Okay. Do you need
Lots
time?
of it.
You
Yeah,
need.
I'm trying to be nicer. I'm really working on it.
You are. There's been an improvement. You know what I mean? Like people know who the good. The giving
Hey,
one.
let me
I
ask you
like
something. How many swear words did I have tonight?
tonight. Actually, you know what? You are
Two.
absolutely right. Yeah,
Two. Yeah.
that's very good for you. Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to swear, and he's at a school there, and people hear all kinds of profanities and stuff.
Plus, he's a man of the cloth. I mean, you want to be respectful, right? So I thought you did a really good job. I thought you
Thank you.
actually you used restraint. So I mean, more can we ask of you?
I don't know. We'll see what happens next week.
Thank you for the pre-warning.
Yeah, well,
Awesome, but yeah, let's be in touch and we'll see what we got.
yes.
All right.
Another good one. I really enjoyed this one. It was a really good one.
Yeah. Always and always.
It's it was I'm finding that these are getting 355-ish. That's not bad.
I don't know if I would go that far. I wouldn't get crazy now. You know what I mean? Yeah. Let's not
And
get
I think
crazy.
that's the real reason Burton hurt his eye.
Just watching 355 and just couldn't
I,
control.
I think he was like just a jolt of energy, and
Sarah, you can't believe
he.
this. This is profound.
Yeah,
Just just met with him today. They just don't come better than him. I mean, I've been around a lot of teachers, man, and it was really interesting today because what he shared with me today was the conversations he had with Lloyd regarding CLOT and how he actually helped Lloyd that. So that was really neat today. So which I'm going to share with some of the other instructors. But I'm impressed, Renee. Yeah, see, and Eric's also impressed with your behavior tonight. So
yeah, and it's also at work. They've asked me to swear less at people, like
yeah,
not
that's
just the general public, but the people who are working with me.
like you too.
But I
Also,
have these awesome nicknames for everybody, so it kind of upsets me. So I got to come up with like cleaner versions of them.
yeah. Um, all right, I got to. I'm getting summoned by my son who wants his machine back. All right, and he's been very patient. So, Renee, always a pleasure. Thank you, the co-host with the co-most, and that trick is just.
I'm telling you.
You could just send me that in slow motion so when I try it, I don't burn myself. All right, be
All
good.
right, take it easy.
You
Thanks,
too.
guys.
All right, that wraps up 39. So as you heard, we'll let you know who's coming on next week, as well as FMA discussion. But go to FMA discussion. You will see it pinned as always, and who is coming up next and when. But thank you all that watched, and we'll see you next time.